Good morning, my beautiful besties. Welcome to yet another beautiful brand new day. Today we are going to be having ourselves the last solo beach day of the summer. Tomorrow, September 22nd, will be the first day of fall, which I love fall. I thrive in fall. But you know, we got to honor summer one more time, especially since this summer was good to me. Normally summers aren't that great. In Arizona, it's just hot and I spend them indoors all the time. But this year, I was blessed to come out here in California and just enjoy the beautiful summer weather. And in honor of Hispanic and Latino, Latinx, Latina Heritage Month, I thought I would go support a local Mexican-owned restaurant. And make sure you guys are always supporting local restaurants. Keep them alive. Jack in the Box, McDonald's, all of those will live on forever. But we should always support our local businesses. And in this month specifically, keep those Hispanic, Latino, Latinx restaurants in mind when you go out to eat. Go try out a new one. Go support your favorite local one. I'm gonna go support one of my favorite ones. You guys know the last time I went to the beach, I got a good burrito and they had some delicious treats. So I'm gonna hit that place up again. I have secured the goodies. I will do a haul once I get to the beach. But meanwhile, I get to the beach, I thought I would throw you back to when I was getting ready because I have some things I wanted to share.
You know what I love about being Mexican American? Is that everyone feels like familia. Being able to relate to other people on the traditions that we grew up experiencing and the delicious food that we all grew up eating. And even though in some ways I feel represented, in other ways I feel completely invisible. And though it makes me uncomfortable to relive these feelings, I hope that by being open and vulnerable, I can help to create some change for the younger generations who deserve to feel represented in all aspects. And so I must call out that deeply rooted within our Mexican community is racism and colorism in the way that we portray ourselves in the media and in the way that we speak to one another. And while I think it is very important to appreciate where we came from, I think it is also important that we hold ourselves accountable as a community for some things that need to change. And so I want to share my feelings on why I felt unloved by my own community and the importance of representation and how important it is to feel represented. When I was younger, I had long, beautiful hair that fell between my knees and ankles. And one of the main ways that my mom would style my hair was by braiding it, which I had no problem with that. My hair looks beautiful in braids. And in fact, it was perfect because it got my hair out of the way and I could continue to play. Just as many of my ancestors did to secure their long, beautiful hair and keep it out of the way while they went on with their daily tasks. I once was a carefree child, without a single care in the world. I never worried about how my hair looked. I never worried about how dark my skin looked. I never worried about how my body looked. And it wasn't until I became aware of the media and how it treated people of my skin color that I started to hate everything about myself. In Mexico, there's a lot of hidden colorism and racism that seems to be swept under a rug. If you pay attention to media in Mexico, typically the beautiful, rich main characters have a lighter complexion. Typically, people of darker skin and a more indigenous appearance play the roles of the maids or troubled people. And it was something that always stood out to me, and it made me hate those things about myself. It made me hate braids, something I once never thought twice about. But now all of a sudden, I would braid my hair, look in the mirror, and rip the braids out because I did not want to look too indigenous. Not because I thought that looking indigenous was ugly. I didn't think that. I was made to feel that way. Like with any other insecurity, just because you hate it about yourself, it doesn't mean that you hate it on other people. It just means you hate it on yourself. In fact, when I was younger, I would look at other beautiful dark women who seemed to look so confident in the color of their skin, in their own bodies, and their hair. And I would be jealous. I'd be jealous because they were confident and I wasn't. What were they consuming that I wasn't? What were they seeing in the media that I wasn't seeing? Because when I looked in media, that's all I saw is that people with dark skin, braids in their hair, weren't beautiful. They weren't the main character. They were less than. And it made me hate that about myself for so long. And now that I'm older, I love those things about me. I have reclaimed my love for braids, and I do not care if I look too indigenous. In fact, I love that I look indigenous. I love that I have inherited the beautiful traits of my indigenous great-grandmother. Growing up with darker skin, you're often told to not wear darker colors, to not wear brown, to not wear bright colors, because it'll make your skin look darker, I guess. So what am I supposed to wear? What am I supposed to do to my hair when that is the way that I am? And now I've reclaimed the love for the color of my skin, and I will wear brown proudly and not care if it makes my skin look darker, because in fact I love that my skin looks darker. I no longer fear the sun, because I used to be afraid of it. You'd be told, no salgas al sol porque te vas a quemar, te vas a ver más morena. Don't go out into the sun because you will look darker. Other people get to run in the sun and they're fine, but I can't. I have to be aware of how the sun will affect my skin. I don't have the privilege of wanting to go out into the sun so that my skin can tan. No, I have to be afraid of it and stay in the shade and watch all the other kids play in the sun. Well, I have to worry about not tanning my skin. But after years of healing, I now love myself. And I know and see and understand my own beauty. It took me years to do so, but here I am. I am reclaiming everything that I once hated about myself. Everything that I once was too afraid to do. I love wearing my hair in braids. I love wearing my hair natural, which often I was told that my hair was too greñuda, that I needed to comb my hair because I had frizzy, curly hair. So I spent all of my high school years and my middle school years straightening my hair to try and keep it flat, to try and keep it looking sleek and, I guess, tamed. But now it's rare on occasion when I straighten my hair. I love wearing my hair natural, and I love finding different ways to style my hair. I love wearing the color brown, and I love wearing bright colors because they make me happy. Brown makes me feel beautiful. Words that my younger self would never imagine she'd hear. But here I am, little me, loving all of this about myself.
I had to lug everything over here because, as you can see in this clip, there was apparently some sort of overflow of water somehow. So it was quite a trek to get to this spot, and I had to carry everything, but nonetheless, we're sitting down and it is so nice. So I just need to catch my breath for a second. I brought my little mercado bag. Fun fact, my mom told me that these mercado bags used to be used as lunch bags for the workers. So you know how we use the brown paper bags for lunch bags? They would use these, obviously not these big ones, but like they have some little tiny ones which are actually really cute. Anyways, let me show you guys a haul of what I got. My bananas are probably all squished. I don't even know where they are. Oh, they're over here. Okay. For my brunch, I guess, because it is 11 already, I got myself a carne asada, or I think he said bistec, because it's mixed with chiles, like the green chiles, and I got arroz, frijoles, aguacate, and chile. So I'm excited to dig in. This was so good last time. I know it's gonna be just as good today. And then for dessert, I actually got one of my favorite. This is a mantecada. I've actually never had it with sprinkles, but it looks so pretty, so I thought I would pick it up. I got this really cool concha. Let me tell you guys, I've never actually had a full concha. I think I've tried like a piece of it one time, but it was dry, so I was like, oh, didn't like it, don't like it, and then I just called it a day. But I'm gonna try it again today. I brought the umbrella because it gives good lighting. And also, in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, I wanted to read something written by Latinx authors, and so I picked this up at Target. It is called Wild Tongues Can Be Tamed, and it actually has a variety of different writers. So they each kind of put together an essay, and it's a mix of all of their work. Let me read you what it says here. In Wild Tongues Can Be Tamed, best-selling and award-winning authors, as well as up-and-coming voices, interrogate different myths and stereotypes about the Latinx diaspora. These 15 original pieces delve into everything from ghost stories and superheroes, to memories in the kitchen and travels around the world, to addiction and grief, to identity and anti-blackness, to finding love and speaking truth. full of both sorrow and joy. Wild Tongues Can Be Tamed is an essential celebration of this rich and diverse community. I am so freaking excited to read this. It sounded amazing. Here are a bunch of other books you guys can check out as well. They're on my list. I am excited to read a lot more books and stuff written by the Latinx community because I feel like I don't really know as much and I want to know more. I just really want to dive into my culture, my background, the history of my ancestors, get to know the history of Mexico, all of that. Best way to educate yourself is to pick up a book, and especially one written by Latinx, or in this case, multiple Latinx writers. I'm gonna eat first though because you can't read and eat at the same time. I'm not a multitasker. I was just doing a little bit of reading, but I thought I would try the concha now. I like it. It's like crunchy yet soft at the same time. However, these are normally eaten with champurrados, hot chocolates, or coffees because I know people dunk them in there. I might save mine, but that's pretty good. I'm gonna keep reading when I get back. I think I'm going to be leaving soon, so I'm just gonna enjoy the beauty of the beach for the last like 15 minutes that I'm gonna sit here. It's just such a nice day out. Very beautiful. Also, the water's coming in closer, which is a little scary. So that's another reason why I'm gonna leave. Okay, so I'm about to head out, but let me show you guys this blanket bag thing, which I got last year, and I highly recommend you guys get it if you ever want to go for a little solo beach day because it is amazing. Now, another thing I wanted to touch on was learning to love Spanish music. I feel like this one, I don't know if anyone can relate to it, but with Spanish music, I feel like part of me felt almost like a sense of imposter syndrome listening to Spanish music on my own. Like, I'd obviously go to parties, quinceañeras, bodas, fiestas of all sorts, and I would hear the songs and I would love them. I thought they sounded so good. But for me to like listen to Spanish music on my own time, I almost felt a little sense of like embarrassment. I would listen to it, but if like anyone asked what I was listening to, I wouldn't say what exactly I was listening to. I would like say it was something else, just because I felt like if I said, oh, I'm listening to Todo Cambió by Camila, someone would be like, you listen to Camila? That's so weird. And I just didn't want to like deal with that. I felt like we already dealt with so much ridicule our whole lives just growing up because we were never Mexican enough to be Mexican and we were never white enough to be US American. And so we were in a really weird spot growing up being Mexican American. Part of me didn't want to really admit to liking the Spanish music because of that. Like, I wanted to fit in one so bad, but I felt an imposter syndrome trying to fit into either. But, you know, I grew up in the US, so it just kind of made more sense to be in with whatever is trending in the US. For example, like Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, Hannah Montana, and all of those. Like, obviously I'm from here, I watch the TV shows, it makes sense for me to do that. But for me to be like, oh, I like Rebelde, oh, I like Camila, oh, I like listening to Romeo Santos, it almost like catch people off guard because they're like, oh, you listen to that? I never saw you as being the type of person to listen to that. And so I just kind of wanted to avoid that. For so long, I wouldn't go out of my way to really listen to Spanish music. I really wouldn't look it up. I wouldn't admit to listening to it. Now, I love it. I've learned to just love it, admit to it, and honestly, sometimes Spanish music just hits so good. Like, it hits the right place in your soul that other music just could never. I'm happy that I'm here. Honestly, sometimes there's a sense of guilt with coming to terms with your culture, your background at such a late age. But honestly, better late than never, and I don't care what anyone says. Like, I'm here and I am loving it. I'm learning to love it, and it took me so long, but it wasn't even because of me. It was because of outside forces just telling me that I wasn't enough of one thing or another, or telling me that I was too much of one thing or the other. And so it was a really weird thing growing up, but you know, it took me so long, but now I love being Latina. I love being brown. I love listening to Spanish music. I love talking in Spanish, even if I sound pocha or mocha or whatever you want to call it. I love it, and I'm learning to embrace it and be happy with it and learn more about my culture, hear voices from other people who have endured the same realities as me, who have also struggled with it, and just seen so much more representation in this world. And have we all received the representation that we deserve? No, there's still a long way to go, but I hope that one day we can all get that representation that we deserve. And if you don't see that representation and you want to see that representation, create that representation for other girls that look just like us.